Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome to another episode of 49 Faithfullee. We're your hosts, Miriah Lee and Teran Lewis. TL, what's up? What's up?
Oh, same crap, just different toilet, So,
I know all
yeah.
too well.
Yep.
What's up to JV first in the door? Got Melissa. Melissa's in here. What's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing well.
Over
Um,
under. Over under. Izzy will say something bad about Juice 2 times.
Over.
Okay.
that one's not hard. She loves to give you shit.
I know.
I think she comes here specifically to do that. What's up, Brandon? I hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you for coming in. David McNew. I figure I'll let you guys roll in the door for a few seconds because then I can't catch up and say hi to everybody for a long time after.
For sure. Hey, David, I hope you're enjoying your hat, brother. No, honestly, I can't find my black San Francisco hat. I think my son, he asked me the other day. He's like, "Dad, do you think I can borrow that?" And I was like, "Well, how about I just buy me a new one and you can have this one?" And then I haven't seen it since. And then
Well,
he's
he
slick
wasted
because,
no time.
well, he was slick because he knows I don't have him on Wednesdays and Thursdays. He's at his mom, so he's like, "Oh, let me just grab it." So I was like, I can't find it, so I'm assuming that's it. So
Melissa says, I come from Mariah, my sister, and attack 44 when he disgusts me.
every week.
Yeah. Already for being on the roster. That was already enough disgust for her.
Yeah.
Real quick, Ryan, he won the score prediction for week 5. So I have his cards here ready. Once if I see him join the chat, then we'll go ahead and show that to him.
Okay.
So that was the winner for week 5. There was a lot of close people. It was like 1 point difference from his and the next one, and then like a 2 point difference from like 4 other people. So it was pretty close for week 5. Let's start off with a happy birthday to the GOAT, Jerry Rice, today.
That's right.
Yeah. And what did it say? I should have written it down, but his age when I had seen whatever it was, like I still couldn't believe it. That's why I can't remember it, because like you see him out there running around on the field and everything, like, and it just like blows my mind that like I forget that he's, as up there in age as that he is. So man, he's kept in great shape. Like, wow.
Him and Terrell Owens both.
Yeah.
I feel like both of them, they just like, I don't know what it is about these 49ers receivers. They're just built different, I guess. But yeah, Jerry Rice is in awesome shape.
Yep. And like he's that one that like would do that hill, remember, like when they would run that hill, like that suicide hill or whatever they call it, like and players like today's in age, like they won't even go and even attempt it. That's how freaking crazy it is.
I remember we drafted that receiver. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He was an absolute bust, but we got him in the first round. I can't remember his name, but anyway, I remember he ran it with Jerry Rice when he was a rookie, and he was like, man, he was just like, that hill was no joke. He was like, I'm shocked that Jerry Rice was even able to do it at his age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're talking about a 21, 22-year-old rookie who's in prime shape, and he said it was a struggle. So
David said he's enjoying the hat.
I saw the AJ Jenkins. That's who it is.
Oh yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, that's exactly who it was. Yeah. I was like with him. I was like, not Rashawn Woods, because I was a little bit before that. It was like recently. Yeah, you're right, AJ Jenkins. Yeah.
Brandon says, I need to have you guys on my show. Message me when a good day will be good for you guys. I will do that.
Sure. Sounds good to us.
To the rest that have joined, Bryant, what's up? NorCal Bill, Tia, Damian Lee. I think I got everybody. All right, so of course JV's back into the chat now. He came to claim his seat. I wanted to start with. No, I guess we'll do that when I go into the next game, the injuries, because it has something to do with this game, but I guess we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
What are just, your overall, how you felt about the game? Obviously we talked about on the Instant Reaction show how we came out of this game winning, but at what cost, right? Like how many times have, we said that even in this little time that we've been doing this show, like We have
Yeah.
a win, but at what cost? And again,
Yeah.
the turf monster seemed to get us again. And, we're going to play on turf again. So that's just
Yeah.
it.
It's always early in the season too. It sucks. It seems like something always happens. I mean, you got 2 years ago when it was with Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas. Then week one last year we lose Jason Verrett and Raheem Mostert on the same. So it's like, man, it's like I feel like it comes in twos. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
this time it's worse. Like, we got two studs on defense, and Jimmy Ward and Bosa who got hurt. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, I feel like it comes in twos. So I feel good about this game, the way we played, and everybody said, "Oh, it's just Carolina," but you know what? You can't. They're still NFL rosters. I don't care what nobody says. Like, and I can't. I hate when people want to say stuff like that because now, I remember last year when we beat the Texans, it was, oh, it was just the Texans, just the Texans. Well, it doesn't matter. Like, an NFL roster is NFL roster. So, and we're on the road. Everybody always plays good when they're at home, and we just dominated in Carolina. I mean, that game was over in the third quarter. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I feel good. I mean, what stands out the most to me is this D line depth. I mean, Boza goes out. I want to say what early third quarter he
Mhm.
goes out, and then we're already missing Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw. And that, I mean, I'm going to keep saying this. I mean, Charles Omenihu, Hassan Ridgeway, Kevin Givens, those dudes are playing lights out inside. It's like we're not even skipping a beat.
Yep.
It's like, and I'm not trying to sit there and discredit Ken Law or Eric Armstead because Eric Armstead has paid his dues and he's done his thing. And, Javon Kinlaw still hasn't been proven yet, but he's still a first round pick. But it just goes to show you the greatness of Chris Kosaric. That man
Yeah.
is that dude's amazing. If I know he's a millionaire, but if I met him, I'd buy him a drink and ask him to go to a steakhouse. Like, come on, bro, let's go talk some football because that dude is just amazing to me. How he just puts in, it's like plug and play. Like he don't care who's out there. You know what I mean? And then so we'll see though if Nick Bosa can't go this week. This is a huge test for him. For Chris Kosaric, I think he can do it. I mean, you got Charles Omenihu who can play inside and outside, but I expect to see a lot of Drake Jackson. Ebel Calm is even kind of questionable because he
He
had
was
some
back
stuff.
at practice today. Yeah.
Okay, good. So it's hopefully, when you practice on a Thursday, usually that's good news.
Yeah.
So Ebel Calm's back, but yeah, I mean, offense. The offense is the offense. I still expect more. I mean, yeah, I understand we put up 30 points, but and the offense put 30 points and the defense put up that other touchdown. But I still expect more out of this offense. I want to see more. Like I feel like they've they put a little bit of seasoning on it, but the taste still isn't there yet. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to add a little bit more to it. So, everybody keeps saying, well, just give us some time. It's going to be a few weeks before we get in a rhythm. This and that. But look, that's what practice is for. That's when you need to start getting into your rhythm. And we have a 7-year vet going in at quarterback. You know what I mean? So it should be a rhythm because everybody on that offense, besides Danny Gray, he's familiar with. So
Yeah.
this should be a well-oiled machine going forward. But I feel like we're looking good going forward. We have to get this W though because we have a huge task on October 23rd, which happens to be my birthday against the Kansas City Chiefs. So
Yep. Oh, that's a scary game to have on your birthday. I
I
wouldn't want
know. Yeah.
that. Like, can we play the Panthers on my birthday?
Yeah.
Something easy.
Let's swap 6 and 7. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like let's play the Falcons on my birthday. But hey, yeah.
What's up to those that have joined? Tanya, Ty, Joel, Pete. What's up, fam? Hope you guys are doing well. Appreciate you joining us. Before I get into, my thoughts, and then we'll, go into our flowers for this game. Ty, first Melissa had said that obviously turf should be taken out of the league, and that's how I feel as well. Ty says we have 4 games on turf this season, all different kinds of turf. When we were on Pete's show this week, we talked about this and about what's, is it just turf that's causing the injuries? All different stuff about the injuries that are happening. And we, talked about turf for a while. We talked about how George Kittle, had talked about that, if teams are going to use turf, at least all use the same turf. So they're not constantly having to change, different surfaces. Kittle talked about that again this yesterday or someday this week, and they asked him to like elaborate, like what do you mean by that? Like, different turfs and whatnot. And he said, like, for example, the Panthers turf, that it had like a, not just the normal like black in between, like it had like a gravel in there as well. He said that that's the only turf he's ever played on that had that gravel in there. And then he said, like, other teams, there's other teams that their turf probably hasn't been changed out in 10 years. So it's old. It's, like, of course, turf like that, the give's going to be different because it's been played on constantly for 10 years, as opposed to new turf that you just roll out and you expect the team to play on it brand new, like, so I thought that was kind of interesting to hear, like, exactly what he was talking about. And, they asked him, like, well, as a player, is there something that you can do about it? Like, I don't know if they were hinting at, like, well, if you guys just like stand up and say, we refuse to play on it, because that's my thoughts. Like, they said if you poll the league, that a higher amount of players are going to prefer to play obviously on grass over turf,
natural
right?
Grass, yeah.
So if you have the league, then the players all stand up and say, we refuse to play on this.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they have to do something about it?
They absolutely would.
Like,
Well,
if
Peter
you're having your
said,
entire football team saying, I'm not going to go out there and play, like, there has to be something that can be done. And like Pete said, and everything, like the NFLPA, they should be out there fighting for these players.
Exactly.
And it just don't seem like they're out there. Like, they get paid money, they get paid all this stuff to be the representative of the players. And it don't seem like they're doing a very good job of it.
Not at all. Yeah. Well, it's funny too, because you'll see, like, when something happens, like on a primetime game, if you see somebody tear their FCL on turf, you'll see like players who are watching the games, they'll tweet it, get rid of it, get rid of it. And, like, so, I think it's a league wide thought. Like, all these players are like, man, like, there's too much going on. We just need to go to natural grass, and natural grass is just easier to play on, period. I understand they want to do this cost effective stuff and they don't have to worry about it in the winter time and all this other stuff. But look, you guys are billionaires, you owners. Like, you guys can have somebody go in there and maintain your guys' grass.
Yep.
So I don't want to hear, or get a cover, get something where like they can build some kind of cover to put over it. So when, it's freezing or whatever the case may be, that it protects the grass. Like, something has to be done. I don't want to hear this, oh, well, in the frozen tundra, like, who cares? Like, do something about it. Like, is it worth it to spend a little extra money to keep your players healthy? I think so. You know what I'm saying? So, you want to talk about how they're your investments and stuff like that. Well, then invest in them.
Yep. That's what I keep saying. Like, they deserve better, like, they're multi-million, billion-dollar men. Like, they deserve to be playing on the best of whatever, and like Kittle said, like, for example, the basketball players, they don't have to go out there and play on different surfaces. All hardwood's exactly the same. All the, floors of the basketball court are going to be exactly the same that they have to play on. It doesn't matter from New York to, Golden State to wherever, it's all going to be exactly the same. Like, it's just, I don't know. I can't stand getting in the conversation about turf because it just pisses me off. Just because I feel like something can be done and yet it's not. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Bryant says, and this is a good question, and I can't remember, what the exact injuries have been during those games for the last however long, I do know about the injuries for the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years that I've been covering the team. So that's all I can really, talk on, but I could look into that. But he says, I do want to point out, we used to play against the Saints, the Falcons, and Rams on turf twice a year. What changed?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I don't know if there's, every year, and I deal with a lot of landscapers, being a property manager and stuff like that. So they always try to come up with like these new things to like more cost effective and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't know if it's really, better material. I guess you can say, like, like the old turf was a little bit more like grass like, I guess you can say, you know what I mean, where it's like where your feet didn't get stuck. That you notice a lot of these injuries, it's always non-contact. They're running like that. I remember a couple weeks ago, Sterling Shepard for the Giants, he was running like a go route, and all of a sudden you saw that, and he pulls up, and it's like, because a lot of the times your cleats get stuck in that turf where, like, when your feet ain't going nowhere. So if your feet if your right foot is stuck in the turf and then you're trying to cut and then your foot's stuck and then your knee goes a different way, it's going to tear you up, man. So
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know that's a good question. I mean, I don't know the whole details, but I know there's so many different types of turf out there nowadays. Where back in the '80s, it was like, oh, this is what we have, and
Yeah.
artificial turf. But now, everybody's coming up with their own ideas, and oh, this can be more cost effective. You can use this. You have one that, that's really cheap that you know. That I don't even like to use because I tell my board members like, don't use this because it gets so hot in the summer, your pets can't even stand on it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So there's so many different turfs, but yeah, I think grass is the cheapest, most effective way. I understand, like I know grass can be expensive, but I think over a long haul, it's cheaper because you're getting your money's worth in these players. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even if you go with some fescue or some more expensive grass, at least your players are going to know what they're getting into, not realize, oh, what kind of turf am I playing on today? You know what I mean? Like, I hate that they have to have a guessing game. Or what cleats should I wear? Should I wear these? And it's just a mess.
Yeah. And maybe like with anything these days, every company that, puts out something is trying to undercut the other one.
Yep.
They're all trying to find out that the cheapest and, fastest and the easiest way to cut
Hmm.
corners and do everything these days for
Yep.
the cheapest amount of money as possible. So it wouldn't, I wouldn't doubt it that they're doing the same with that, as, that's every single thing on the market these
Hmm.
days is like that.
Yeah.
Lissa says JC Horn drafted 2021 hurt twice on his own home stadium. Fuck up turf.
Hmm.
Like
True.
that's something you invest. Like he was a first round pick, right?
Yep. Top 10 pick at that. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
like number 8 overall. Yep.
Yeah. So you draft that high of a draft pick in somebody, and 2 years now he's completely wiped out. And who knows, will he ever come back the same? Like how many injuries can they put on their bodies? Like
Hmm.
you keep hoping they can, but at what point does their body just have enough from the injuries? Like Jason Verrett, like, it's like we keep hoping he's going to come back,
Yeah.
but when is this injury enough? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's one of those things too, where like even if you don't do it, NFL as a whole, like these players need to advocate for themselves. When
Yeah.
you're in these team meetings and stuff like that, it's like, hey, look, I've been noticing that like we're having this and this going on, and and maybe if they all get together, I refuse to play on this stuff. Like I'm an investment, and my body is my investment. You pay me to stay in shape. You pay me to stay healthy. However, you're not taking the measures to keep me healthy with this turf that's horrendous. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Like, we had, you talked about Omenahue and Banks as well. They both had, not injuries. Like Shanahan, they couldn't practice the first day of practice this week because Shanahan said, the injuries they had was specifically from playing on the turf.
mhm.
Like just soreness that your body has because you're playing on turf instead of playing on grass. So imagine
Mhm.
the teams that have to play on that every single day. Like what kind
Exactly.
of beating their body takes on the regular, like it's just crazy.
They just tackle me on some grass, and
Right.
Melissa had the good point. Like Sterling's always hurt, but when his cleat was stuck, was horrendous to watch because
Oh yeah.
he was running, his leg went one way, and all you see was his foot stay. All of a sudden, you just see him pull up. Like, oh man, like
You
yeah, that's
knew right
terrible.
then.
No,
I
it's
was like,
terrible. Yeah, it's
it's
terrible.
bad. Yeah.
Like for them to see so many non-contact, like I never used to see this back in the '80s and '90s. To see so many non-contact injuries tells the whole story of how this turf is.
Yep. So back to the game. Obviously, we, went in and took care of business like I expected. I think it was a good game overall. I feel the same way you do about the offense. Obviously, like I'm expecting more still. Another thing that we had talked about on Pete's show about Jimmy G and, the kind of game that he had. And, if he had a good game, if he had a great game, if we just set the bar too low for Jimmy G. So the stats real quick, Jimmy G was 18 of 30, 253 yards and 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Obviously, this is Jimmy G's second game with no turnovers. So that is one thing I'm happy about. If that's something
Yep.
that's my biggest gripe, besides the injuries, obviously, is his turnovers. Like if you're going to be a game manager, you need to be a game manager. Like game managers don't turn the ball over. Like,
Mhm.
you have to be one or the other. You can't just be a game manager with a gunslinger mentality, like it just doesn't work.
Exactly.
If he has no interceptions this next game against Falcons. That'll be the first time in his career that he's gone 3 straight games with no interceptions. So we're in pretty uncharted territories entering here. The running game looked nice. We talked about it in the overreaction show. Jeff Wilson, 17 carries for 120 yards, 7.1 an average, 1 touchdown. Obviously, we know they pulled up T. Cole, who is now on the active roster. He had 8 carries for 23 yards, which that doesn't say half of what he had, because really he had, 3 catches. This is where his spectacularness came in. 3 catches for 44 yards, touchdown, an amazing catch. Like even Shanahan said, like he wasn't expecting that to happen, because like the way that, who Coleman was covered by and everything, like Shanahan said the ball wasn't supposed to go there. So, he made a great play. And Jimmy as well, putting it up there for Coleman to make the play. Jennings again coming in clutch on 3rd down. He seems to be taking over that Kendrick Bourne role really nicely, because if there was one gripe I had about Kendrick Bourne, it was just that he wasn't big enough. He wasn't physical enough, like he was, kind of skinny, and Jennings does have that size and that physical, nature about him. So he's going to get out there and he's going to fight for the ball. He's going to, I just love the way Jennings plays. I love watching him play. So he's been coming in and doing what he's out there to do on 3rd downs. This was the game that George Kittle fumbled at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So it seemed like the plan was to get George Kittle involved early. And then he fumbles. What are your thoughts overall? I've been seeing, Grant's been bringing it up for years already, but especially these last couple of weeks, talking about like the Kittle's yard after the catch is down. It's significant, right? Do you think that that's purposely by Kittle, that he's like, okay, he knows he's getting up there in age, that he keeps having injuries? If he continues to play as physical as he once did, that his shelf life obviously isn't going to be as long. He's been constantly having nagging injuries already. Do you think he's purposely, like we've talked about before, how if you are only going to get another yard, why fight contact with 6 defenders when you could run out of bounds and maybe get hit by one guy at the most? And take all that last punishment on your body? Do you think that that's what's happening, or do you think that George Kittle's just declining?
So this is my thoughts on George Kittle. I think George Kittle is going to be George Kittle. He's going to do what he does. I don't think it has nothing to do with him not wanting to do it. I say him being used so much over the past few years as an offensive lineman has taken a toll on his body. That's what I think it is. I don't think it's because, he's a gamer. Like, he's going to do what he does. And I agree with you. Like, it makes me sick. And it's the same thing with Debo. Like, dude, I'd rather you just get out of bounds. Like you're not going to be considered. Everybody already knows who you are. Nobody's going to call you soft or, oh, why did Debo do that? Like you said, if you're fighting to get a first down, that's different. If you get the first, you see that maybe you're just going to go maybe get 1 yard or so after the first down. Don't take on, like I see Debo sometimes, him and Kittle both, they'll lower their shoulder and hit a guy. I'm like, dude, don't do that. Like there's no reason for you to do that when you got the first and you're only going to get 1 yard. So I think with Kittle, I blame the coaching staff. I know people don't like to hear that. I'm blaming Kyle on this, because if you would have shored up that offensive line, like these fans been asking for years, and I get it. You traded for Lake and you traded for Trent. Kudos to you on those 2 moves. Other than that, I mean, you're using arguably, and I saw this argument over Twitter the last week about Kittle and Kelsey, because Kelsey was just dominated on Monday Night Football. It's not close. And I've always thought that Kelsey was better anyway. I always thought it was Kelsey 1, Kittle 2. But, you see the difference. I totally believe that if you wouldn't have used Kittle so much as a blocker, he's 245, 250, taking on 300 pounders every single play. That's not fair to him. So I think that's what it comes down to. I think like he's just like I think he's beat down. I think he's just like, man, like it takes a toll on you. He's been
Yeah,
on the team for 6 years now, and only 2018 is when he was used really as a receiver. If you think about it, when he broke the record, you know what I mean. So he gets used as a receiver then. But yeah, the fact that this man is getting putting a toll on his body, I just think that it's just one of those things where it's just like, man, I'm beat down. Like I don't have the juice I used to have. So I guess you can say it's part of a decline, but I don't think it's nothing towards his mental health. Because I think if he can do it, he's gonna do it. He reminds me of myself, to be honest. Like I was that physical player that liked taking extra contact and stuff like that too. But however, I'm not a professional. I'm not getting paid the million. So I didn't care. You know what I mean?
yeah,
At the same time, it's like him. He's one of those guys who are just like, I'm gonna get this extra yards because, I mean, let's be honest here. Go back a couple of years. If he just falls to the floor, he's not doing what he did against the Saints when he was dragging 5 people. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that in him because because I feel like then it was necessary
exactly.
because you had to get in field goal position for us to win that game. So yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. I blame the coaching staff for his decline. I still think he's a top 3, top 5 tight end, if he's used correctly. But yeah, I'm sorry. You put any like that's like you, Miriah. If me and you're on the line together, I know, and every snap I'm hitting you every single time, it's gonna take a toll on you.
Yeah.
I'm way bigger than you. You're gonna be like, man, like this is too much. And just think about that years and years over 16 games. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and Bryant, he brings up it's the mentality of the team. They want to dominate and be aggressive. And this is one of the things that, we talked about when we had talked about the turf and the injuries and whatnot is the last, at least 2 years and, so far of this year, so 3 years, the two teams, with the high, almost, the highest amount of injuries was us and the Ravens. Two teams that like to run the ball first, are physical, smash you in the mouth, football teams. And happen to be the two most injured teams in football. Like,
Yep.
Is it a coincidence?
Mm-mm.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Before we get into our flowers and all that good stuff, we'll go ahead and have you guys start entering your numbers for a giveaway. Remember, still the Hufunga cards, traveling, hanging on over here, waiting for one of you guys to actually claim it, but I guess nobody wants him, so he'll just sit here and wait. It's okay. Everybody enter your numbers. Remember, no duplicates. What's up, Dion? Ryan, what's up? Ryan's here, the winner of the score predictions.
Yeah, there he is. Ty, my light-skinned brother in the house. That's right. Me, you, and Dion. We got that I'll be sure going on. Them light-skinned brothers. You know what I'm saying?
What's up, everybody that just joined? I hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you for joining. So as I give you guys time to get in your numbers, and whoever joins, give you guys a few minutes. Let's go ahead and give our flowers to this game, and then we'll get on to the Falcons. Starting, I did mine in groups because I felt that there was a couple groups of positions that deserved some flowers. And I'm starting off with the running back duo, Jeff Wilson Jr. and Tevin Coleman. I feel like without those two, there was no way, you take those two out of this game and that offense was. So, yeah. We already talked about their numbers and, what impact they had on this game. And obviously with Tevin Coleman, just being on his couch a couple weeks ago, to come and sign with the team on the practice squad, get called up. He didn't know the week prior that he was getting called up,
Yeah.
Everybody expected. We had another running back on the roster, 2 other running backs on the roster, on the active roster, and they pulled Tevin Coleman up and he ends up, taking the show. So to be able to do that and have the kind of game that he came in and had and really, really came in clutch for us. So my first bouquet of flowers are going to the running backs.
Okay.
Who you got?
Well, I was gonna say the same thing with Jeff Wilson because I don't know, that man just looks like he had like some kind of youth movement going on. Like he looks fresh. Like I mentioned, like last couple weeks, it's like his burst has gotten way better to me. Like he seems like he's gotten faster. I don't know if his vision just gotten better and now he's just hitting the hole quicker. But man, he's looking like he got that fountain of youth going on. But since you already brought up the running backs, I'm gonna say even though he only had 2 catches, I'm going Jawan Jennings. Just because, man, like his 2 catches were clutch.
Yep.
And then that one he caught over the middle, and then he I mean, he got smacked too. He got smacked and he just kept it moving. He kept running that dude over. He almost scored a touchdown. I thought he was gonna score a touchdown.
Yeah.
That man's a dog out there. Like I love that. It's funny too because like it sounds kind of contradictory because I'm like, I don't. There's times to be physical and times not to be physical. I think that time was needed.
Yeah.
Like he was running up the field because he didn't have a first down yet. He went up and he was running fools over. I love that kind of mentality in a football player. Like dude is just a dog. Like yeah. So I'm gonna go Jawan Jennings on offense just because those 2 catches he had were absolutely clutch.
Yeah. Ryan, you definitely don't need to do that, but I mean, if that's totally up to you, but like I said, there's no need for you to do that. There's others that have won a lot more than you have.
Numerous times. Yeah.
So please don't feel like that you need to sit out of anything.
Yeah, like everybody's saying in here, Jawan Jennings is just a flat out dog. Like, he's not the foul. Did you see? I was going to bring this up. I was laughing because we all know that Jawan Jennings ain't a speedster. But did you hear the announcer? Oh, they gave it to Jawan Jennings, the speedy Jawan Jennings. I'm like, the speedy Jawan Jennings. I'm like, are we watching the same dude? But yeah, no, that man is just an absolute dog. And I just sit back and I think, like, man, I know that, we always talk about what could have happened, what should have happened. But I just imagine this team with him and him, Debo Ayuk, and then the healthy Jalen Hurd. That just would have been nasty out there, like, because Hurd was kind of a dog too, you know what I mean? But so yeah, it just sucks that we didn't get to see it pan out like that. But yeah, I love me some Jawan Jennings. The dude's out there, and you said it, Miriah. He's like a bigger, more physical Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah.
Like they have the same type of job, except I think Jawan Jennings is more efficient at it just because he's so big. And I think and I would like to use him more in the red zone too. He's just so big.
Yeah.
Like there's no slot corner who's gonna cover this man.
Right. And I figured that that's where we would be using him was in the red zone, but I don't know. Like our receiving game in the red zone is just like non-existent at times.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Melissa says, did you guys hear Peter Schrags try to give Juwan props but called him Juwan Johnson? I'm sick of national media never getting their names right. And like you just said, and that's what I was going to respond back to you when you said they said Speedy Juwan Jennings. Like that shows you how much the national media really has no clue about the teams that they talk about, because think about it. They talk about all 32 teams. There's no way, that they can, like me and you, we can be in depth to the core with the 49ers because we only have one team to cover. Like they have to cover all those teams. There's no way in hell that no person could ever have enough time in the day. I don't care who you are, to study everything that you need to do about all 32 teams to talk about them on a day-to-day basis. Like there's no way in hell. So like, that's why you guys I'm like so sick of even like entertaining, listening to anything with the national media. Like,
and then
I'm getting from local people, like people like us, people that know what the hell is fucking going on out there.
Yeah. Well, what's funny about it too? What's disrespectful is like if you're calling the game, go through the roster. At least go through the roster so you can be okay. I'm about to call this game. Let me make sure I have my names correct. Like it's just sad. Like they said, Juwan Johnson and Peter Schrager is a 49ers fan.
Yeah.
So that's what's weird about it for him to call him Juwan Johnson. Like that's terrible.
Yeah, Dion. This is one of the things I hate. Like they do this, I swear, every single game. Like it's ridiculous. Like I feel it, and we talk about this all the time. Like I feel like Nick is a more dominant player than Joey Bosa is.
Oh, for
sure. And it's like, like it's well enough. He's been in the league long enough that they should be calling Joey Bosa Nick Bosa at this point. Like
for real.
Come on. The next flowers I'm giving, and all those that have joined. I see you, Tony. What's up? Appreciate you joining us. Tony, the Mr. Bills fan. He's JV's co-host over there at the Locker Room Rant. Make sure you guys go over there and check them out if you haven't. But he's a Bills fan. However, he adopted the 49ers now as his second team. So So much so that, I keep catching him in all these 49ers chats, and, he's here more than most 49ers fans. So I don't know. I think 49ers are becoming his number one. I don't know. Imagine if the 49ers had Josh Allen, though.
Oh, Super Bowl and probably undefeated right now.
Man, that I am so envious of the Bills for Josh Allen. But that's another
Same.
team. I feel like they don't give Josh Allen everything that they should. Josh Allen has to do every single freaking thing on that team. I'm surprised they haven't put him out there to play defense. Okay, you're done playing offense, get out there to play corner.
Go out there,
Line
put
up at linebacker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
shit.
6'4", 240 or whatever. Go out there play some linebacker.
I hope that the Bills trade for CMC or something. Get him in and a real running back that can freaking run the ball and give him some help.
You know how nasty that offense would be if they had CMC. I've been saying this for years, and it's funny because him coming out of Stanford, I watched a lot of Pac-10, or Pac-12, I guess you can say football now, Pac-12, and when I saw him at Stanford, his route running for a running back was one of the best. Even for the receivers, hands, everything. So stop beating that man and running him to the ground. At this point, just make this man a slot receiver. I think he'd be more effective. You get more years out of him, whatever the case may be. I appreciate that, Tony. I'm sure a lot of people don't know what that means, but yeah, DD214. Yeah, but it's just crazy though how yeah, I hope he gets out of there. I heard they have a fire sale going on. DJ Moore is out there, and CMC. If I'm the Bills, because they don't need no receiver, but if I'm the Bills, I'm calling for CMC and be like, hey, let me use you even 50-50 as a tailback and as a slot receiver. That dude's the man when he's healthy.
Yep. So yeah, before I got off on a Tony tangent, and make sure you guys enter your numbers. We'll get this giveaway going as soon as I get these flowers out to my linebacking group. The whole linebacking group was played great. We obviously know, Aziz is out, so Flanagan Fowles is, filling in for him. Greenlaw's been playing lights out. He's, besides this game, he had been, leading every game in tackles. He's just been a monster out there. And which is nice because most players, we see when they get paid, they kind of, feel like, oh, well, it just seems like they stop playing as hard, or, not all of them, of course,
yeah.
But there's, we've seen that from players and players on this team too. So it's nice to see he gets paid after the season already started, right? And still has been balling lights out every single game.
Exactly.
So yeah, Greenlaw, even Fred had a half a sack. Fred led the team in tackles, 6 tackles, 3 assists. Oren Burks even had a half a sack. He had a tackle and an assist. Flanagan Fowles, he had a sack. So they all got involved there. Flanagan Fowles, the play that he got that sack on, that was a beautiful play. I've gone back and looked at that. That was a trick play, and man, he did great on that play. So yeah, the whole linebacking core, there has been no drop off missing Aziz. A lot of people wanted, the team to pay Aziz over Greenlaw, and obviously we saw that didn't happen. Obviously we were hoping, maybe they could still pay Aziz, but at this point, the way they hadn't had no drop off with him being out, I just don't see that as likely. And with him being under injury, unless, he comes back, balls out, and we can get him kind of cheap, but I don't see that happening. I think he's priced his way out. So yeah, the whole linebacking core, I think, has been great.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's, last year, going back to the linebacking core, Aziz arguably was playing the best out of all of our linebackers.
Yeah.
And he was out there doing his thing. So yeah, everybody was just like, man, Aziz. And even me, I'm just like, he just seemed like he was just quicker to the ball and all this stuff. But I think Dre Greenlaw sitting on the sidelines, I think he saw what was going on. He's sitting back like, man, I need to stay healthy and step my game up too, because this man's playing lights out there. So yeah, and I'm glad that they can play off each other like that and be like, okay, and what do I need to work on? This and that. So you're giving the linebacker as a whole some props. So I'm gonna give it to the interior defensive line. I'm so impressed with these guys, man. They're just out there doing their thing. Like I mentioned before in the beginning of the show, if anybody didn't hear or came in later, this interior D line it's not skipping a beat with Eric Armstead,
4.
and Javon Kinlaw being out. So, shout out to Charles Omenihu, Kevin Givens, Hassan Ridgeway. Like they're out there doing their thing, man. And it's one of those things where everybody was asking about the thing with Jimmy Ward and Tashawn Gibson. They were like, oh, we shouldn't mess with it and this and that. So, is it going to be that same type of thing where they're just going to wait until Eric Armstead is like fully healthy, or is it, like a rotation guy, whatever the case may be? I think obviously he gets his spot back, but man, the chemistry that's going on with this, and like even our edge rushers are playing well, but man, that interior line is playing very well. Then you look at guys like I said, you got Kevin Givens, who I don't even think was drafted, and then you got Charles Omenihu, he was a 5th-round pick. So But the thing I will say about Chris Kasarik and D'Amico Ryans, they definitely know how to get more with less. So that's who I give my flowers to.
The hell? Tony says, if I had the option between free tickets and all expenses paid to go to tonight's Chicago versus Washington game or get kicked in the nuts, I'm going nuts. No joke. We keep getting these shitty ass games like on primetime spots.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, like such snooze fests out there.
Yeah, it's
I don't
horrendous.
know if I'd take it that far to get kicked in the nuts, but
yeah, I'm not doing that.
You do you, buddy.
Yeah, and I love me some Chicago though. Chicago's other than the South Side of Chicago that gets like a bad rap because it is pretty ghetto, but Chicago's a beautiful city.
I haven't been. Maybe one day.
Yeah, but I feel you, Tony. Like Miriah said, these primetime games, I mean, even ours, the one against Denver was horrendous.
Yeah.
Like these primetime games have been terrible, but nobody would have thought that. You know what I mean? Like thinking going into it. But I can look at those two teams and be like, Chicago, Washington, why? You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, it's crazy.
So yeah, the number was 4. Bryant had 3. So congrats, Bryant. Close. Today we're doing some rookie love. I'm going to get into the injuries right now, but I'll go ahead and let y'all know that TDP is back at practice. So we're going to do some TDP rookie card love and some Drake Jackson. So you have your pick. Bryant, are you here before I go through all this spiel for nothing?
For real, huh?
Because if not, I just throw you a prize in the box.
There you go. Who's winning that game right now anyway, do you know?
I don't know. I don't have it on.
Let me check it out.
I don't know. I'll wait to see.
0-0 halfway through the second quarter.
Oh my God. That's terrible. Wow. I think Rivera might be the next one to get fired.
Yeah.
Like his comments about the quarterback this week and all, like he's been in some hot shit. So I don't know what the hell's going on over there. Like I was high on Washington when he took over as the coach. I was expecting that defense to be lights out. Like every year since he's been there, I'm expecting the defense to be lights out. And nope.
Yeah.
It's like
this is what I will say,
continuing to disappoint.
Yeah, this is what I will say. When I want to say if so bad, but it's not going to happen. When D'Amico Ryans leaves, Ron Rivera will be a good defensive coordinator too, because he runs that similar scheme, that 4-3. I think what he does do is he's a good defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Like he put that Carolina defense together. You know what I mean? Like he's good at putting that defense together. So I agree, John V. Who the first person to score is going to win that game. This is a snooze fest. 6:14 left in the second. Score 0-0. That's terrible.
Yeah. Ty says Bryant couldn't be here, so I kindly accept on his behalf. Yeah, we'll just leave these here. So if Bryant comes back before the next drawing, then he can let me know. But if not, then he'll get whatever's left over. So yeah, that's our flower. Our flower portion's over. The florist is out of flowers now. Can't have too much niceness going on around here. So yeah, you talked about the interior line. Armstead, obviously he hasn't practiced and he's not even making the trip to Atlanta. So he's definitely out. He ain't freaking playing.
Who is this?
Armstead.
Armstead, yeah.
And I don't understand why, like we talk about Kinlaw and the flying, how it makes his knee swell up and whatnot. So, like, if you're pretty sure, like the rest of us are pretty sure that Kinlaw is not playing, right? So the 49ers are pretty sure that Kinlaw is not playing, right? Like he hasn't practiced in who knows how long. Why are you flying him out there? Like keep him over back there with Trey Lance, like
Yeah.
I don't understand like why we're flying him and if that's causing swelling and everything in his knee, like just so he can sit around and
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. At least if you keep him there and he's there for 2 weeks or whatever the case may be, maybe the swelling goes down and he's healthy enough to help us out against Kansas City.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, I know we talked about this before, but I'm getting to and it's not even his fault. That's what sucks. I'm just at my wit's end with him. I just think it's time to move on.
Yeah. So the practice report for today did not participate. Armstead, obviously. Nick Bosa still hasn't practiced. Javon Kinlaw. We know Mosley isn't. Ward, he did have surgery. Shanahan said he's getting a cast. He said that in a couple weeks they'll be able to see where he's at and they'll know at that time if he's able to play with the club or not. Until then, like they're not able to know. But he did have successful surgery, so he's healing. Obviously, we know Trent Williams. And then limited Aaron Banks, we talked about that, he was having a little soreness in his knee from what Shanahan said was playing on the turf. Sampson, we talked about the same thing with him, but his soreness was in the Achilles. But he returned limited today. Tyler Croft was limited, and Tarvarius Moore returns back to practice limited as well. Full practice today, which is good news. Robbie Gold. We know that they had to sign a kicker onto the practice squad this week in case, Robbie wasn't able to go. They kept Robbie out of practice yesterday. I did see a video of him like doing some jogging and running, and he seemed to actually run good. Like he looked way better running than
Jason Verrett.
Yeah. So the fact that they have him listed as a full participant in practice today, so that's good news. Danny Gray was out practice yesterday with an illness. He returned today full. As I said earlier, TDP has returned to practice full participant, so we should be having him back soon. Diamador Lenore, he returned to practice full today with the wrist. And Jeffrey Wilson, I guess he had some shoulder, but him and Lenore, like they weren't out of practice, but they just have some pain, whatever, in the wrist and shoulder. So, yeah, it looks like the offense, and especially special teams, with Robbie being able, if he's able to go, that's a huge thing because we remember last time we had to rely on kickers when Robbie's not able to go, and it hasn't been pretty.
No, not at all.
So the fact that he was able to return to practice is huge. But yeah, that's a lot of our starting defensive players that are on that did not participate list, and on the out list, we would, we can guess. I know that obviously the Falcons ain't no, monster on offense or anything.
Yeah.
They're pretty much a run team because their quarterback can run better than he can throw at this point.
Yeah.
However, their, number one running back, Cordero Patterson, is not playing. Pitts has returned back to practice, but like, as I said, they run the ball. Like even we talked, Jesse had a Falcons fan on his podcast the other day, and he said, like they don't even use, like, you shouldn't even be scared or worried that Pitts returned to practice because they don't even use him. Like, so don't even worry about it. Like the same with their wide receiver. Like they have a great wide receiver and yet they don't really use him. So I don't know. They're a mess over there. But when you're going against, we could say, yeah, this team's stacked or whatever, but these are starters going against backups at the end of the day, so, I mean, it's still anything can happen. How are you feeling? I know as when we talked about this on Pete's show, I was expecting a beat down. I'm still going to stick with that same score, but I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking maybe it'll be a little bit closer than that. How you feeling?
It possibly could. You look at the 5 games the Falcons have played this year; they've all been pretty close. They haven't been blown out. I mean, and they had a chance to win at Tampa Bay, but it wasn't for a horrendous passing, roughing the passer call against Tom Brady. But it is what it is. But yeah, they've been playing teams well. It's a shame, like you said, they have Drake Jackson and they have Kyle Pitts, and they're not used. I'm like, you know, I don't know. I just, I think on Pete's show, I had said 24-13 or something like that, but it could be closer. I know the point spread is like 6 right now, which seems like okay, yeah, the 49ers can cover that, but I don't think it's a trap game. I think we win, but I don't think it's going to be like a huge blowout. I just have a feeling. I don't know. Um I mean, it's good that we stayed in town. We stayed on the East Coast, so no time zone change and stuff like that. So we don't have to worry about, the jet lag and the people, being tired and stuff like that. So yeah, I fully expect us to handle them. I think we pull away in the second half, though. I think they keep it close first half, and then Kyle figures some stuff out. And then, because I'm not worried about the defense. We've been playing without 5 starters pretty much the whole year. You know what I mean? With the Z's being gone too, and then so if Boza, I'm not sure. I don't know if you said he's expected to play on Sunday or he's not.
He hasn't practiced yet,
Hasn't
so
practiced, so um, like I said, if it sounds funny, but the two coaches I trust the most are on defense. I trust D'Amico Ryans and I trust Chris Kosaric more than
yep.
I trust Kyle. I'm gonna be honest here. They just, so I'm gonna just say that our defense is gonna handle them, and I think our offense should be able to get, to tear them up. They have some solid pieces on defense, but they traded Deion Jones, who was their best linebacker. I think really their only good to above average player is going to be AJ Terrell, that corner, but he can't
Hmm.
cover everybody. So, yeah, I think we win. I think I'm going to stick with my score of 24-13. So, yeah, I think that's what's going to be. I think we win by 11. However, I wouldn't be surprised if it's closer.
Gold is not healthy. I mean, he has some left knee issue, but he did return to practice today, so take that for what it is. I don't know if football players are ever truly healthy, so
No.
but he was at practice, so I mean, he didn't practice yesterday, so it's a plus that he returned today. Yeah. It seems to be the theme that we keep it close during the first half and run away during the second half.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna stick. You guys can go ahead and drop your score predictions now if you want. I'm gonna stick with mine being 31-13 because that's what I already went with. So no matter if I'm feeling more nervous now or not, that's what I'm sticking with. I don't know. I feel like the Falcons have maybe, they have a good coaching staff, but it's obviously they're in the middle of a rebuild.
Yeah, no playmakers, really. Yeah. And then the best playmakers are hurt. Like you said, Cordero Patterson's on IR. Drake Jackson, they haven't figured out how to use him yet. Kyle Pitts, he was hurt. He's coming back. How much is he? How big is he going to be? Like, you know what I mean? How good is he going to play? So who knows? Wow, Tony got 23-21 Falcons. Okay.
Some 49ers fan you are. Bryant 39 Niners. So he thinks it's going to be a bigger game than me.
Yeah, I will say this: if Bosa doesn't play, I fully expect. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Drake Jackson has like 3 sacks.
That'd be nice.
I just have a feeling because there's no film on him. You know what I mean? And when he gets in, he makes plays. So
yeah, and he's gonna have more.
He's gonna
obviously,
have more
be
snaps.
out there more. Yeah.
Yeah, have more snaps. So yeah.
Tie 23-12 49ers. Tanya 27-14. Where are you? There you are. I'll give you guys a minute to get your scores in, and then we'll get this other giveaway going. But I just don't want all the numbers getting all mumbled jumbled in there.
I had the Commanders on my ticket this week to cover, so hopefully the game stays the way it is.
What was the spread?
Well,
this
I
thing?
took I took some points. I took a teaser bet, so it's Commanders are +7.
Yeah, that's good. Is the score still 0-0?
I don't know.
Let's see. Tia 27-10.
Yep, it's still 0-0. 2:40 left in the second quarter, so they're about to go to halftime, probably 0-0 because it's 4th and 4. Chicago has the ball, and probably getting ready to punt here.
And we were worried about doing our shows on a Thursday because you have to compete with Thursday Night Football, but you know.
Yeah, we ain't got to worry about that.
Yeah.
Go ahead and keep the snooze fest coming. More people are interested in seeing our content in these football
games. If you had to pick one player on offense that's going to go out there and, be the recipient of both of our flowers next week, who would it be?
I think he's due for a big game. I'm going with Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, that's what I would go with as well.
Yeah, I think
and
so.
Kyle Shanahan talked about it this week, talked about that, Brandon Ayuk's having a hell of a season and, talked Brandon Ayuk up, which, is a complete 180 from, how we started off last season, right?
Yeah.
And that said, even though he doesn't maybe, get the opportunities or the numbers in a game, that doesn't show that the impact that he's having out there on a play-by-play basis, whether that be in the run game, blocking, obviously we know he's out there running free, clearing out routes and all this other shit out there. But yeah, Shanahan had some big praise for Ayuk this week.
Yeah.
That was good to hear.
Yeah. I think if we go out there and we have, let's just say if Kyle Pitts does play, I would have Fred Warner mirror him and just cover him all game, and then put Ward, obviously Mooney, it doesn't matter who he covers, you're going to lock him down. But you put him on Drake, you put Fred Warner, to cover Kyle Pitts majority of the game. There's no way we should lose this. None.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that a lot of people have talked, about the worrisome matchup is against Kyle Pitts, because even though he hasn't been used, much up until this point, the thing is that we know that Jimmy Ward is normally our guy that locks down the tight ends, without having him there to lock down Kyle Pitts, that it, leaves that, scaredness, I guess, out there that, is whoever they put on him going to be able to cover,
Yeah, and Fred Warner's one of the best covers linebackers out there. So,
yeah.
And he's 6'3". You got Kyle Pitts is 6'6". I mean, yeah, he's taller, but there's not too much of a difference. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. So we have a Juwan Jennings, BAA, Wilson. They talked Ayuk up too much this week. I think they'll get him the ball more, especially since he's open a lot. Yep,
yeah, a lot. You're right. A lot. 90% of the time.
David McNew says, not picking a score. We keep winning when I don't. All right. Don't pick one then. All right. You guys can go ahead and put your numbers out there for the giveaway. We'll go ahead and finish up with that since we don't have any more scores coming in. Get the giveaway going. Go ahead and get your numbers. Good luck, everybody. All right, so what else did I have?
Oh, I saw that video you sent me with I didn't get to watch it much, but I know it was about Ambry Thomas. So he's supposed to be starting outside.
Well, I don't know, because they talked to Diamador yesterday at the presser, I think, and they were talking to him about, is it going to be a big switch, for him, because he's been having to play the slot and now switch it up to play outside corner. So, but then today, I guess Ambry was practicing, on the outside. So I don't know.
As much as I love me some Ambry Thomas, I think at this point, I'd probably start Samuel Womack. I think he's just a better football player at this point in time than Ambry Thomas is.
Yeah, but from the looks of it, they're not even having him practice outside. It's Diamador and Ambry. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they'll start Diamador outside and start Womack in the slot.
That's the rookie thing, huh, Miriah?
Yeah, the rookie hate. I heard somebody. I was watching a show this week with Jason Aponte and Brad, I think.
Mhm.
And a comment came up like that, like, you guys shouldn't be sleeping on the Falcons and, something or whatnot. And Jason Aponte, like I'm, I always just have my phone there and I'll be doing something, and I hear him just start going off like, I can sleep on whoever the fuck I want because I'm not the one playing the game. The 49ers are the ones that need to not sleep on the Falcons, and they're professional football players. So trust me, they're not sleeping on the Falcons, but I can sleep on whoever I want because I'm not the one out there
I'm not
playing
the
the
one
damn
out there
game.
playing. Yeah.
So what is that shirt? Since you said nobody
Did
else
you
would
get
know
that,
what it
Tony?
is.
Oh, so DD-214 is the paperwork you get when you get when you get discharged from the military.
Oh, okay.
And it's either you either get the honorable or the dishonorable.
Oh.
And so, of course, I got the honorable one. But yeah, so that's the paperwork you get. So when you so people in the military, when they see it, they're like, "Oh, dude, that's a cool shirt." Or people who know what it means, and oh, DD-214 alumni, that's awesome, bro. And I was like, yeah, so that's what that means.
Oh, I thought that was your inmate number.
Nuh-uh. That didn't start with a D.
Oh,
No, I'm just like.
All right, get your numbers in there. Give you guys a few. I was going to ask you something. Somebody had put in a comment that reminded me to ask you something. And then I forgot. I don't know.
Here in Vegas, we got the Air Force Base. So every time I see people like the Air Force people doing something they're not supposed to, I like calling them out. It's so funny. They like get all shocked, like, how did you know? I'm just like, it's so funny. Like one time I was in one of these houses I managed, this clubhouse, and they got out of their car and they're walking around and they came in the clubhouse. I was like, where's your cover? They're like, huh? I was like, where's your cover? They're like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Are you an officer?" So I'm like, "No, I'm just messing with you." They're like, "Oh my god!" Like that's just so funny. Like because when you're every time you're outdoors, you're always supposed to have a hat on.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, "So where's your cover?" It was hilarious, just in the look on their face. They were like, "What?" Like, "Oh my god, we're caught."
Bryant, are you here? You won the first giveaway, but you weren't here to pick your prize. So
Yeah, I think he's back now. He picked number 3 again.
Yeah, I know. That's why I asked, but maybe he put it and then disappeared again. Because if you're
What
here,
branch were you in, Tony?
If you're here, I'll have you pick your prize. If not, then you'll just get whatever is left.
Okay, so we start off with a tie at 54. Okay.
All right. Well, I don't know where he's at. I think that's enough time for you guys to get your numbers in.
Yeah.
Let's pick it. Good luck, everybody.
$72. Okay, let me see. Okay, I see an 88. So we start off with tie at 54. It's not that many numbers in, huh? 54, 20. Oops. 54, 22 for Tanya. Bryant with 3. My computer's tripping. It looks like it's going to be Tony. Hold on. Yeah, 88. It's the closest.
Tony, what are you going to do with 49ers? What word was I going to use? Paraphernalia.
There you go.
What are you going to do with some 49ers paraphernalia, Tony? Give it to John V for his Christmas present? Like, oh, look what I got you, buddy.
That's hilarious. Re-gift.
This Drake Jackson rookie card that I knew you wanted.
Look what Ty said.
There's no Robbie Gold. Oh, yeah, I do have a Robbie Gold card. You want that instead? I had that saved for you anyway, so that was going to go with your package, Bryant.
That's different. Ty said, darn it, I picked 74 last round. I'm off like Jimmy G in Denver.
No, Tony, you're allowed to enter and win.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's up to you if you want to. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to win. You're
my
here.
girl And my girl came on one time as a Cowboys fan, and she won. So
Yep. And she was here entering today. So
yep.
So up to you. But Bryant, along with the Robbie Gold cards, you want this Drake Jackson, what is it? This Drake Jackson Astral Hollow rookie card, or do you want this Ty Davis Price rookie card? Let me know. Let me know.
Fool said JV Christmas gift.
Yep. Nope, it's still here. It's still here waiting for another giveaway.
Charlie Warner.
So Bryant, pick something so I can give the other gift to Tony.
It's so funny. I looked at Charlie Warner's highlights when he was in high school. He was a beast at wide receiver. Beast. I'm
Yeah.
just like, what the heck? It's funny to me. Then he goes to Georgia and they're like, no, we're just gonna put some weight on you and use you as a tight end and have you block majority of the time.
Yeah, I don't know. He's been actually getting some more play, so that's
Yes,
good to see at
yes.
least.
Over Dwelly too.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm still surprised Dwelly. If Dwelly wasn't a freaking preseason hero, I don't know that he would be on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Bryant, pick one of these cards, Bryant. I'll just give you whatever. You pick for me. Okay.
Send Tony the Trey Sermon card so he can give it to JV.
There's lots of Trey Sermons. I left them in the box so that when we pick one, I'm going to use it as like a whammy card to give like a, like a good card in place of it or something.
You had me dying earlier when you sent me a picture of Aaron Burbridge. I was like, wow, you have that card? Like, that's awesome.
I don't have that shit.
Oh, that what it was?
I was just looking through some 49ers cards like online, and
like,
that was one of them that came up. I'm like, who the hell is this?
I thought that was one of your stocks
No.
or stacks. I was like, what the heck? I go, you got the Aaron Burbridge? I was like, I remember when we picked him in the 6th round. I thought he was going to be okay too, but the era of Trent Baalke and none of those receivers panned out.
I think I switched hands. I don't remember which one was in the left. I'll give you this one. Left. My left, your left hand. Okay. This one you're getting. Whether you like it or not.
Babe, you're a little late with the score prediction, but
no, I can still enter.
You got to say who's going to win, though, babe. Can't just put 24-16. And then is it the Falcons or the Niners?
Choose wisely.
It's funny, even though she's a Cowboys fan, she's not a trash talker.
No. Maybe just not to you.
True.
All right, so Tony, that means you're gonna get this Drake Jackson Astral Rookies card. Congratulations. You can do with it as you wish. We don't hate around here. We appreciate you being here, so you can win anything.
Yeah.
The 2 members of Locker Room Rant that I actually like.
That's so funny. Who in the chat? What Niner fans in the chat remember Aaron Burbridge? That's hilarious. I remember that they went through so many receivers. It was like Aaron Burbridge, DeAndre Smelter. You remember that dude?
Yeah.
I was like, who are these dudes they pick? And I was like, yeah, it was. We had a horrendous run at wide receiver.
Hey, Bash. If you guys that are just coming in or came in recently, still want to drop your score predictions before we get out of here, you still have time to do so. Also, Ryan, let me show you your winning package here from the score prediction last week.
Bash. I don't want to remember Aaron Burbridge.
I sure in the hell didn't remember him.
You don't remember that dude? Yeah, he's out. He was at Michigan State. I remember him.
All right, so Ryan had just gave me the 2 players from the past that he liked and told me to just pick the rest for him. So
yeah.
One of the players he gave was Steve Young. So we got this Steve Young Hall of Fame holo card. Next, we have this Ayuk Got Game Hollow. We have a clear vision Elijah Mitchell. And to top it off, we have our QB1 that's currently out on the IR, Trey Lance. This is pretty cool because it like lights up blue like behind him as he's running.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like
I
light
that.
show, it's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So congrats,
Izzy.
Ryan.
I saw it. 31-13 49ers. I got you.
Okay, let me put it. Congrats. All right, let me get these last score predictions in here. Again, we appreciate you, fam, for hanging out with us. Who did we have? Let's see. Where are you? Melissa, 31-13. Your girl, did she ever say?
I text her, but
Okay.
I'm just gonna pick for her. I
49ers.
think she's going with the Niners though.
Okay. And then who else?
We got
Bash. Where are you? 28-17. Alrighty. Is that the only one?
I think so, yeah.
All
I
right.
like it, Izzy. I was high on Chemical Turret during training camp, so I think he'll do good too. I think he'll probably like have a half a sack or something.
Oh yeah, and I had started this question from Melissa. We kind of actually did talk about this a little bit, but she asked, Miriah, thoughts on who will take E-Man's spot, and do you think Jay Ward or Mosley come back on friendly deals or roll the dice off injuries? So we kind of talked about who has been practicing on the outside and slot and whatnot. As far as coming back, I really hope, and we always hear how the coaches, will talk up a player and whatnot, but from the sounds of it, the 49ers hope as well that they can get Mosley back here. I was so excited that, we were able to get Travarius on the other side to finally have two lockdown corners back there. And then unfortunately Mosley goes down, so hopefully, I'm really hoping that they find a way to bring him back. And there's never anything good about injuries, but the fortunate thing about it is that that's going to put his price down.
Yeah.
Because he's coming off of serious injury.
Injury, yeah.
If he would have played balled out this entire season, he could have, priced his way right off this roster.
Yeah. He probably would have got about between 14-15 million, to be honest, if he would have kept balling out. I think we said it on Pete's show. I said it since he got hurt. I think he comes back just because this is the best spot for him because he knows the scheme. I think he comes back on a 1-year deal between 8 million and 10 million. I think they'll give him a 1-year deal to prove it, 8 million, and then we'll see what goes on from there. Because he's still young. I think he's only 26, right? He's still super young. So
yeah. JV Tony won. He won a Drake Jackson rookie card. So make sure you get it from him. Don't let him throw it in for some fireplace ammo. Melissa says Mooney was a steal. Best thing we got from the Chiefs. Yeah, definitely better than the last thing that we got from the Chiefs. I will give it that already. Even with only 5 games of, proof, I think that it already looks better than the last, big thing we invested on out of the Chiefs.
That D4 thing was a disaster.
Yeah, but so far, up to this point, Travarius is showing us every reason why they went and, invested money in this kid because he's been so locked down. The way he plays the ball, he's everything that you want in, man-to-man corner.
Yeah. It's like you put him on the best receiver and just say you stick him all day and we're worried about the other parts of the field. He does his job, play in and play out. He doesn't take plays off. He's there in coverage. He's not doing any pass interference calls. He's in perfect position almost every play.
Yep. And he talked about, how he fits in this defense. He talked about this today or yesterday, whenever they talked to him. And he talked about that the biggest thing is that D'Amico just lets him play free. Just lets, he says he trusts in me to go out there and do what I need to do. And, gives me that trust to just go out there and play free and play how I play. And so he said, that's the biggest thing. And
that's good. Yeah.
you know, he talked about how like now obviously he needs to really step into that CB1 spot. He said, you know, they paid me as if I was the CB1, but I think, you know, he was kind of like saying with Mosley there, he kind of didn't really feel like it maybe, you know, but now obviously with Mosley getting hurt that he really has to step up as a CB1. So like they talked about, hey, he's been mentoring the young guys, and Diamador even talked about it too, how he's been picking their brains. Even Mosley's still there with them, they said. So like that Diamador's been picking Mosley's brain to get tips, you know, for this game coming up and what he needs to do. So, you know, I give it to the young guys. They know that there's an opportunity, a huge opportunity coming up for them with Mosley going out, and it, you know, we'll see. They can put whoever out there, but you know, if they throw Ambry out there and he didn't take advantage and prepare for this moment, we're going to be able to see right away, you know. And I think, you know, Shanahan talked about that this week as well, that, you know, the young guys, that pretty much the whole cornerback room just pretty much came in and they had put in the work and, you know, took the position from Ambry, that he let the young guys, everybody take his spot on the roster, you know, that he's at the bottom of the totem pole because, you know, Shanahan made it seem like he came back in from the off season and he didn't put in the work to get better. So
yeah,
we already know how Shanahan's going to feel about that. So
yeah.
So I don't know. It's going to be interesting who we see out there. I'm thinking it's Diamador and Womack.
And Womack, that's what I'm thinking too. I just hope whoever they, you know, they put out there, they stick with it, unless they're just horrendous. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, if they go with Samuel Womack, if he's out there, if he gets beat once or twice, keep him out there. You know, that's the only way these dudes get better. You can't just be taking away their confidence like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, because remember, like you said, we saw last year with Demo, like we're just like, what the heck happened? Like he was in, all of a sudden he gets out. We're like, what's going on here? But you know, I'm glad that he bounced back and he didn't, you know, let it bother him or mess with his confidence or whatever. I told her she was already too late.
Oh, I think she's like watching, not on live. I think she's like 5 minutes behind on the replay.
She's stepping in. Yeah.
All right, everybody. That's it. We'll be back this weekend. TL might not be here for the instant reaction show. So if not, I'll find some of you wonderful people to do a instant reaction show with me. You know, there's a couple of you that I send it to every week. So I'll continue to do that and we'll see who can join me for the instant reaction show. But yeah, I appreciate every one of you. Yep. Thank you guys for being here. Right, literally hates him. I don't hate him, but he's just something else. Like I seriously would punch him in the face if I was with him in person, though. That's for damn sure.
What are you talking about?
Nick.
Oh,
our co-host.
That was funny. Tell Nick stop putting his junk in the camera all the time when he does the air guitar.
Yeah, that's like I'm telling him every time from now. That's sexual harassment. Like I'm sick of that shit. Like I don't have to keep putting up with that
like,
shit.
Dude, I don't want to see your junk in the camera, my brother. I'm sorry,
man. Like he got to be single because no woman want to be seeing that junk. That's just in the camera. We don't even want to be seeing it. Like, can you imagine in person? Like, good Lord.
Miriah.
Banjo man.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys. Everybody stay safe.
Thanks, fam.
Wait, I got to find my damn thing. Hold on. All right, we're going. Bye.